Just got a couple of questions. During the summer of 2001, the Minneapolis office had Moussaoui detained. And they were concerned that he might be part of a larger plot. Were you aware of his detention and aware of his
No, I was not.
Were you aware of those concerns any time before September 11th?
No, I was not.
The New York office began searching for El Hazmi and El Midar, knew that they're in the country and was searching for them that same summer.
Right.
Were you aware of that?
No, I was not before September 11th.
Do you think if those two matters from those different officers had been brought to your attention, do you think you might have thought a little differently about the plot, or whether there was a plot, or you might have acted differently based on those pieces of information?
I've thought long and hard about that, Governor, it's a frightening thought to think that that could have been on my desk on September 10th, and would I have done something differently or not? And I can't answer that. I go back and forth on that constantly. It keeps me up at night thinking, if I had that information, would I have had the intuitiveness to recognize, to go to the president, to do something different?
What bothers me is just the fact it didn't get to you. You know, that something in the FBI stopped those very two important pieces of information, one from different parts of the country, from rising to the kind of level where you might have seen them and might have acted on them.
Governor, in defense of the employees there, they were getting, one of the unit chiefs, at least 100 pieces of information a day. They were getting fed from a fire hydrant and trying to sort through those things. I spoke recently with the individual who was in charge of the Minneapolis office, and he said, I asked him, I said, why didn't you call me? I said, you know me. I send once a year out an email to all FBI employees to tell them to come to me with any issue that you have, whether it's investigative, administrative, your pay, or some other problem. And I heard frequently from individuals who said, I can't get a Group 1 undercover operation through, or I'm not getting my annual leave corrected, or whatever it might be. And my secretary used to kid me about it, because she'd print it out each night and say, here's your homework, do it tonight and bring it back tomorrow morning, because I don't type. Those things bothered me, but those employees working down in the counterterrorism division were working very hard. They were trying to do the best they could with the hundreds of pieces of information they could. And as we sit here with 20/20 hindsight, picking out 3 or 4 pieces of information, I think is a disservice to them to recognize what pieces in light of 9/11 were relevant.
Hindsight is the word we've used. We've all got to be careful to look at the world as it was before 9/11. Ambassador Black, using hindsight now, if we were able to recognize the kind of tragedy that was going to happen, what would you have done differently? What did we do wrong?
Well, I tell you, I would start from the standpoint that when I started this job in 1999, I thought there was a good chance I was going to be sitting right here in front of you. And I was mentally prepared for it all along. The enemy we're up against is one that I've been operating against since the early 90s. I know these guys. I know what they want to do. I know how dedicated they are. And they were coming at us hard. And, you know, we did all that we could at our level to engage these guys, to try and produce the kinds of intelligence, to kind of produce the kinds of leads. And the men and women that did this, Governor, that served this country in war, out front, did a fantastic job. You know, so on the one side you have catastrophic failure, more than 3,000 people dead. No one's more bothered by this than us. But we engage these targets. You'll never hear from us, oh, you know, we didn't get it. Oh, we got it all right. We knew what we were up against. We gave it all we had. The big bottom line here, you know, people come up with these grand ideas for improvement, you know, big computers or you know, whatever. The bottom line here, I got to tell you, and I'll take part of the blame on this. I kind of failed my people despite doing everything I could. We didn't have enough people to do the job, and we didn't have enough money by magnitudes. I mean, I could give you comparisons you wouldn't believe. We used to talk about it in the counterterrorism center. This goes in the 90s. I mean, this has been so hardwired that, by the time we get up in the recent past, I mean, this train is on this track and this is where it's going. Hell, I don't even know if we ever could have got it off without some kind of catastrophe. I will tell you, going back to the 90s, doing the terrorist target, the only way we ever got more money, essentially, was we would spend ahead of the curve and run out. Now, people talk about the Millennium Threat. I can remember we were spending money on the Millennium Threat. Went to the director and said, Mr. Tennant, we're spending money here. We're not going to make it to the end of the fiscal year. We're going to be 3 months short. We're going to have to stop, and, we won't be able to operate. He said, well, he sighed, and he said, well, do what's right for the country. Blow it out. So we did. So we spent, after the Millennium Threat was over, we spent our time trying to get the money to make up for that which we spent. Or, and I'm just not going to go into the exact kind of language I use, which is very graphic, but unfortunately, when Americans get killed, it would translate into additional resources. It's a constant track. Either you run out or people die, and when people die, you get more money. And, it would have been better if we as a country had made the commitment to provide our counter-terrorist warriors the resources and the numbers so they could do the best job they could. But what I want to leave you with, that's all I want to leave you with. The people that did this are heroes. And we didn't give them what they needed to fight and win. It's that simple. Thank you.
Senator Gordon.